surpass their knowledge base or whatever it may be, and you just need to actually put yourself into a new circle. So you, once again, the quote unquote dumbest person in the room. You know what I mean? So I think that is a big one, and I will recommend to anyone out there, if you're looking to get a mentor, get one in every corner of your life.
Well, I think people, when they hear the word mentor, they think it has to be someone in a very, very high position.
Oh, God, no.
It has to be like a boss or someone really, really almost unapproachable.
Yeah.
But the pure fact is that a mentor can just be a friend.
Yeah, exactly right.
It can be your friend that you trust for advice. And
it could be the bus driver you see every day.
That's right. It can
literally
be absolutely anyone.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to, sort of be self-aware that put your hand up if you need the help.
Yep.
And ask someone for their advice or ask someone for help, because I see too many people out there that are limiting themselves in where they're going in life because they're not asking for help. They're too proud, right? And they think they know everything. It's like, it's okay not to know everything.
Yeah.
It's okay to be like, in the dark about a few things, or, feel uncomfortable about making a decision. Just put your hand up and you'll be surprised to know how many people will be willing to help you, right? And, people don't do enough of it. And I try and promote helping people so much with everything that I do. Like, even if I don't get paid for it or anything, you know what I mean? I want to help as many people as I can. Now, I have to, because I've got my clients that I need to help and I've got my staff that I need to help. But I also encourage my staff to mentor my staff, you know what I mean? So, like, it goes down the line, and I want
ripple effect.
I want that ripple effect, right? Because it's important to encourage that behaviour, because once someone thinks they know so much or they know too much, then I feel like they basically stop learning, don't they?
Oh, I couldn't agree more, and that's where you start pigeonholing yourself, and you kind of start looking like a fuckwit.
Yeah.
And you see it happen a lot, especially
ego gets in the way.
And we'll take it back to the fitness industry again. It happens a lot there because everyone is the subject matter expert in every way, shape, and form, and no one will ever know more than them.
That's right.
Which I think is absolutely fucking ridiculous, to be fair. But that's just my opinion. These guys might actually be quite smart, but a lot of them might just be great at marketing too. You know what I mean? So perception is reality sometimes, and I think that's one of the biggest things that people have to get over when it comes to actually finding the right person to be mentoring them, because there's a lot of cowboys out there, as I like to say. And
if you promote yourself as a forever student, then the law of attraction will promote you to be around
100%
other students.
100%. You'll just find yourself in this place. How did I get here?
That's right. But if you promote yourself as someone that knows everything, then what will happen is that you will, end up becoming in a group of the same, of the same nature as you. You know what I mean? So you need to make it public that you want to learn. You need to make it public, because people who want to learn, like, for example, when I see people that want to learn, like, I want to teach them. If I've got the power to teach them,
you will.
I will. If I've got the power to give them advice,
same with me.
I will.
Same with me.
And that's regardless if I get paid for it. It's regardless if I get remunerated for it. All of that sort of stuff. If it's free, I'll still do it, because I want to project that energy about, and that's my personal brand.
Of course. And I personally, taking on more and more like business coaching clients and all sort of stuff, I find that people will listen as long as you're providing them with good information. You know what I mean? I find that, and the most fulfilling part for me is when I start seeing them getting really good results as well. You know what I mean? But not just in their business, but in their personal life, or in their home life with their partner or whatever it might be.
It's fulfilling.
Well. It's I love that more. Like, like money's great, don't get me wrong, but the most fulfilling part about that is actually seeing them progress as a human, for God's sake.
Because you're being a good person.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, a lot of what we talk about on the podcast is just about being a good person.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? 100%. If you're a good person, you do the right thing, then nature will get out of its way for you, and you'll just you'll succeed in life.
I couldn't agree more. Now, we've spoken about mentors in a few different places and all this stuff, but I'll ask a question in the respects of, if you had to pick one specific area in life that a mentor would benefit the most, what do you think it would be? Why do you think that would be the best place for a mentor to be utilised? And where would you find them?
I would say, because I deal with a lot of finance.
Yep.
I would say finance.
I 100% agree with that.
Finance is a fancy word for money, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So, like we're not taught financial education in school, and what happens is that these kids leave school in year 12. They either go and get a job or they go to uni and they get into more debt and get more student loans and all of that sort of stuff. But they're not taught on how to manage money, and some of them, they might get a job and they might earn, say, 50 grand a year, and what happens, there's no one there to tell them, okay, this is what you should do, right? But you know what it is there to tell them? Have this credit card. Have this personal loan.
100%.
Get this car on finance, right? And what happens is that they get to their mid-20s and they go, or their 30s.
I've got nothing.
And
I've got debt.
I've got nothing but debt, right? And, I get it all the time where people go, oh, Zah, like I'm ready to buy property. I go, okay, let's look at your financial statement, right? And they're actually in the negative.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are we going to buy you any property? Like, we don't even have a deposit for property. And it's sad because it's not these people's fault, right? Because those mentors weren't there. And it's the same with professional football players, right?
That's a big one because I deal with a fair few myself, and I'm...
Yeah, and they earn such good money, and then they get out because they haven't been taught how to spend their $1 million a year or whatever it is.
Even when they're in it, they're sitting there going, well,
that's right.
Yeah.
They get to their early 30s where they retire and they've got nothing, and it is so sad because these guys have basically acquired no skills besides obviously football skills over the past 15 years or whatever it's been, and what happens is that they hit depression because they serve no value to the community anymore. And I think, so that answering your question, Chris, I think more so like a money manager mentor or
financial advisor, I think is what they are.
Something like that.
Something like that.
But
I couldn't agree more because especially when in this day and age, well, actually not even in this day and age, just in general when it comes to money, and it's something that isn't actually taught in anywhere unless you go out and self-educate yourself essentially, is the fact that even with family and all to the stuff, like I know my mum didn't know much about money, you know what I mean? Like she got by, she did everything she needed to all to the stuff, but never got super ahead because of whatever decisions were made, and she may not have had that understanding, you know what I mean? And my the first half of my making money life, I was terrible with it because I didn't know what to do with it. I literally just like it's like it burnt a hole in my pocket.
I think we all were like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But with and that's no negative on my mum whatsoever. She's the best person in my life.
Yeah.
But it's just the circumstance, you know what I mean? Whereas my father is very, 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 very good with it. Never got to see him that much, so I didn't get that mentorship from that.
Yep.
So I adopted the one where it was not so great with it, or not scrutinized when I wasn't doing the right thing with my money more so. You know what I mean? And that transferred into a space where throwing it around, not even caring about it, partying on the weekends and coming back and fuck, I've got no money to eat anymore. Having to go to Woolies and do the sneaky, you know what I mean? Like, but the financial advisor, I actually got one, and fuck me, it helped. Yeah. Like it just helped so much in respects of I know where to put my money now, I know what to do with it, and I'm putting it I'm earning a lot more now than what I was back then. And I'm putting a lot away too, and I'm putting it into places where I know are going to make me money again. But if I hadn't done that, I would have no clue.
What about the away from money as well? Is something going back to say what you're not taught in school is you're not taught what we touched on last week was anxiety. You're not taught, well, from what I remember at school anyway. There was a counsellor if there was a problem. So there had to be a problem before you could kind of say, oh, I feel this way. What about if they started teaching rather than on top of finance? Because these are the real world things. It's like when we always used to talk about what do we learn this
stress
in maths?
Or
you learn these stupid algorithms in maths.
Well, it's life skills that we need.
That's right. And the general population was not going to use it, but majority would be in general maths, and that would be all the maths that you need, right? Look, people that are studying physics and whatnot in university need more than that, but financial education doesn't require much more than knowing how to stack your numbers up and whatnot. But anxiety and depression and stuff like that, it's a massive killer. You know what I mean? And that all comes from financial stress as well. So these are two big pieces that need to be implemented at school, like from an early age, to find mentors in. You should go out, you should be taught this, you should go out, you should look for these type of people. We're here providing not even solutions for people, but we're just here to talk about it from our previous experiences.
It's not a solution. It's our opinion.
It's our opinion, but to help better other people's understandings of certain situations and whatnot. So we're trying to give our part to the community. You know what I mean? Like I feel as though with financial education, there should also be how to deal with stresses, because everyone might be doing their numbers and their numbers stack up good, and then bang, crash, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, how do I deal with this now?
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, everyone's
how do I
come
come back from this?
How do I come back? And and how do I deal with it mentally while I'm trying to come back with it? And I find that is very important as well. I had to deal with it at the start of this year. I found one, in ZAR, very, very personal. Mentor, where it was just about growth more than anything. It wasn't about money. It was all about how to act in certain situations. Not even act in certain situations, as well as how to how to contain yourself, maintain yourself, and how to move forward from it. And it's just these simple little instructions by the mentor that make such a big difference. But again, it's something that people don't. People, especially males, we will always. Be like, yeah, I'm all right.
Pride.
Pride's
a big killer with that too.
We're
massively.
very driven by pride, and then when shit goes down,
massive one with that on those two subjects on like mental
health and financial
health. The two biggest prided areas ever. You know what I mean?
Well,
there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with me, and I'm doing great. I don't
You're
need
taught not to talk about it.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah,
and
correct.
And we need to we need to change the way the new generation thinks and actually talk about it, become self-aware about it, because I spend the majority of my time mentoring people on financial health and mental health, right? And like, for example, like someone will come to me and they'll tell me this fantastic business idea, and it's not really fantastic, but to them it is, right? And I'll say to them, and I'll question them, right? And I'll say, all right, let's do the numbers, right? Because I'm all about removing the emotion, doing the numbers, and really breaking it down.
Making sure it's actually a good idea.
And they'll go, oh, but I really, really like it. And it's like, well, hang on. If you knew what the numbers stacked up like, and then you knew how the business is actually going to perform forecasting it, you probably won't go ahead with this concept. You'll probably go home and rework the business plan, right? But because they don't have the fundamentals of numbers in their head ready to go, what happens is that all gets forgotten about, and emotion comes in, and emotion is basically the biggest killer of all businesses, right? And it's because of the lack of financial education. If the fundamentals of the financial education is taught first, so let's say growing up in school, you had people to turn to that would be able to give you proper guidance and advice, then you wouldn't have all of these silly business ideas, going forward. You're still going to have failed business ideas, but you're going to have smarter concepts, in startups and all of that sort of thing.
I think failed business ideas can actually be circumstantial as well. You know what I mean? Like sometimes trends can just disappear or whatever, or things can happen.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I was probably more touching on, people not looking at the numbers
100%,
rather than
100%.
than looking at the concept. But
100%.
Financial mentors and mental health mentors are definitely, I think, are the biggest ones that are missing in today's society.
I think one for that could almost help with that is actually people skill mentor, and for me it was actually a book that I read. It was how to win friends and influence people. Amazing book. You know what I mean?
Dale Carnegie.
Correct. Amazing book. And man, it gives you some cool strategies on how to actually interact with people in a better way to not necessarily get what you want, but just connect with them better and all this stuff too, which is what's going to get you into a position where you can ask for what you want. You know what I mean? So that, I think, if you could do like a people relationship sort of mentor that teaches you how to actually, it could almost be a sales mentor, but your personal life sales mentor, where you can actually negotiate for what you want as well.
Well, it teaches you people skills to network and build relationships, right? Which is building relationships is key in business, and so.
But just in anything.
That's right.
Of course.
Yeah.
Anything you want to build any form of leverage in. If you want Dave to come over and mow the lawns for a case of beer, you need to know how to ask him to do that. You know what I mean? Like anything, for God's sake, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Now, I've got another question. So, Zai, you've mentioned you mentored a few people, right? And Mark, you might even be able to give a bit of input into this. Now, you've mentored people. What is the best result you've seen out of someone you've mentored?
I think we're talking